Houston, we have a problem. Wonder why you may have had trouble getting a PS5? It's because there's a global chip shortage that may not be shutting down anytime soon. What are these chips, and why is there a shortage, you ask? Well, chips, also known as semiconductors, are in almost every electronic product you could think of. They are also called microchips, and they pretty much function as the brain of the machine. These tiny components host billions of transistors through which electrons pass through to power your electronics. These include your computers, phones, gaming consoles, cars, washing machines, and so on. Now, these chips are in short supply, and the fallout from this shortage has caused huge problems across the different industries that use them, and we might have to wait a couple of years until things get to a better place. Welcome to Posh Future. In this video, we're going to be breaking down the global chip shortage and the effect it has had in the world at large. Please hit the subscribe button and keep watching to get all the details. The ongoing global chip shortage has affected the production and supply of a lot of electronics, such as gaming consoles, and it seems that it will soon affect smartphone production as well. The automotive industry has also suffered a lot from this chip shortage. This is as a result of demand being much higher than supply, to the point that chip manufacturers have a hard time keeping up. So what happened? Well, a lot of things contributed to this shortage, and we would go through them. To begin with, a major cause of the chip shortage is as a result of the Covid19 pandemic. But let's pause there for a second. While the pandemic contributed a whole lot to this global chip crisis, it is not the only reason. The truth is, even prior to the pandemic, there was already a shortage of chips. To better understand this, it is important to understand the semiconductor or chip industry. As technology has advanced over the years, a lot of electronic products have demanded more chips, but there aren't a lot of companies that are in this chip industry. So there are three types of chip production companies. They are fabless, also known as fabs, foundries, and integrated device manufacturers, IDMs. The fabs typically design semiconductors, but they do not manufacture them. Foundries manufacture semiconductors, while IDMs like Intel manufacture and design semiconductors. While Intel has been able to establish themselves as both a manufacturer and a designer, most businesses outsource their manufacturing process to foundries. At the moment, a vast majority of manufacturing is done by the Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company, TSMC, and Samsung. Herein lies the problem. With high demands and only a limited number of companies to supply them, a problem already existed. Then, with the COVID-19 pandemic, it got more complicated. The pandemic complicated things for a number of reasons. To start with, a lot of factories had to shut down, so production was halted. However, even when production resumed, due to the fact that millions of people were on lockdown, people were forced to work from home and to also entertain themselves. Therefore, the demand for laptops, computer accessories, gaming consoles, and the like skyrocketed and caused a huge backlog. These chip manufacturing companies were unable to keep up with the demand, even though they were operating at full capacity. Another pandemic-related cause of the chip shortage is due to a huge mistake made by the automotive industry. The automotive industry has been hit very hard by this shortage. When the pandemic started, a lot of automotive industries that had already ordered chips canceled their orders because they assumed that the economy would take a prolonged hit. As a result, the chip companies switched to making chips for other markets that required them in order to meet the demand. Some of these markets included cloud infrastructure providers, as their own demand skyrocketed due to people working from home and children attending school remotely. This switch led to a shortage of car chips. And listen, the automotive industry is really going through it right now because of this. Companies like Nissan has said that it will be making 500,000 less vehicles due to the shortage. General Motors had to disrupt some of its pickup truck production, and as of now, there are over 1,000 vehicles that are completed but do not have the chips that are needed. Even companies like Ford find themselves having to predict the amount of chips that they might need to produce their cars and order them in advance from their manufacturers. Unfortunately, this shortage means that it will take at least half a year for these chips to come through. So as you can see, the pandemic definitely made things a whole lot worse. But this isn't the only reason. As we mentioned earlier, there aren't a lot of chip manufacturing companies, and unfortunately, during the pandemic, some of these companies suffered some unlucky weather events. Japan's Renesas plant, that produces 1/3 of car chips in the world, suffered severe damage due to a fire. In Texas, the only few chip manufacturing plants in America were affected by the snowstorms and had to halt production. Chip production was also affected in Taiwan due to severe droughts. This is because producing these chips requires a lot of water. For example, TSMC uses more than 63,000 tons of water a day, which is more than 10% of the supply of 2 local reservoirs. So you can see how this drought affected production. As if all these reasons aren't enough, another cause of the chip shortage is due to the China-USA trade war. Due to President Donald Trump's trade policies, the number of semiconductors available in the United States were affected. In 2018, President Trump imposed 25% tariffs on $34 billion worth of Chinese imports, which included semiconductors. As a result, Semiconductor International Manufacturing Company, SMIC, China's biggest chip manufacturer, had a lot of difficulty selling to American companies. This made these companies turn to TSMC and Samsung, who are already operating at maximum capacity. So with these issues, one can see all the things that led to this chip shortage, and the fallout has not been funny at all. Apart from the car companies that are suffering from this, companies like Sony have been affected as shipments of PS5 have had to be delayed. Even Apple experienced a delay in MacBook production due to the shortage. PC gamers have also experienced shortages in graphics processing units, GPUs. Smartphones have been able to escape this fallout due to manufacturers like Apple and Samsung stockpiling critical components. However, Apple CEO Tim Cook announced that iPhone production will soon be affected due to this shortage. Ultimately, these shortages will affect the consumer as prices for these products will soon start to go higher. With all of this going on, what is being done to handle this global crisis? Well, to begin with, we need to understand that this problem is not stopping anytime soon. TSMC and Intel have announced that this problem may continue into 2022 and even beyond that. However, both companies have pledged major investments into their companies to boost the production of chips. President Joe Biden is also pushing to invest in American chip manufacturing and is asking for $50 billion in the chip industry. The Senate also passed a bill offering tax credits and other incentives to chip manufacturers in an effort to increase the production of chips. TSMC and Samsung are also scouting locations to build American factories. However, as promising as these plans are, it will take years for their production levels to be at a significant level. The European Union states have also agreed to try and build chip production across the states. In the meantime, While other auto companies are trying to figure out how to get through this shortage, Tesla has found a workaround. CEO Elon Musk said that the company has been able to weather this shortage by rewriting their firmware to support alternative chips. So, even though the chip shortage has affected its production, this workaround has helped them to produce and deliver more than 200,000 vehicles. Maybe other auto companies would have to go back to the drawing board to figure out a workaround. It is clear that ultimately, in order to prevent this shortage from happening in the future, more companies will have to invest into manufacturing of these chips. Unfortunately, we would have to deal with this shortage for a while, but hopefully in the future, we'll be better prepared. That's all we have for you today. Did you know there was a chip shortage? What are your thoughts on it? Please share your thoughts in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a big thumbs up and turn on your post notification bell so you will know when we come out with new videos. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel if you would like to see more of our content. Till next time, bye!